Normally, hello everyone. Hello to the Dirty Dozens. Hello to new listeners. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Kelly Wright.
And I'm James Ernest, and we're here all week coming to you in regular definition from the epicenter of podcasting professionalism, Seattle, Washington. My goodness, it's hot.
I believe it's now called the surface of the sun. So those of us, those folks watching on video, normally I try and, put myself together. I like a face full of makeup and a hair done and stuff like that. Well, when it gets to be 110 outside and your home is 90, makeup just melts right off your face. And you don't want to put any product on, nothing. So you are seeing those watching video, but I can describe as well. I haven't done my hair. I have no makeup on. I don't care because all I've been doing is hydrating and just sweating it out. So, tank top. It's moist. Everything is moist and sticky in this house, including myself. James, it was effing hot.
We're living that bachelor life, Kelly. We're not covering ourselves in makeup. We're sweating to the oldies in the coldest part of our house.
God. Oh, okay. For those who haven't been following the news,
or who
Seattle
are listening to this
records.
Years in the future after none of it matters anymore.
It doesn't matter. Seattle broke all records over 3 days, all of them, every single one.
Longest shot put, everything.
Everything. Longest time holding breath underwater, biggest pizza ever made, the amount of cake fed to the same amount of people.
Thickest, hottest hamburger.
Records.
Mostly
exactly.
Hottest. Seattle was the largest, thickest, hottest hamburger of all time.
Yes, it was so hot around here that pavement was buckling, water pipes were bursting, and that is in our townhome complex. We had 3 units whose fire suppression systems burst pipes because the water began to boil in the pipes.
Boil?
The pipes run through the... Yes, hang on, I'll explain. So, the fire suppression system in our building is what's called a pressured system. The pipes are already full and they're pressurized, ready to go. If you look at building prices and construction prices, that's the cheaper option than the more advanced fire suppression system, which the pipes are empty and floodgates open when the sprinklers heads detect temperatures that are 135 and over. So, since our pipes are pressurized and the pipes run through the attics and our units do not have AC, our attics were reaching 200 degrees.
Good
easy.
God.
Yeah, so water begins to boil in these pressurized pipes or close to boiling. And so pipes are bursting. 3 units flooded. So one of our neighbors had this issue yesterday. I honestly thought it was going to happen to us. And I had fans running towards the ceiling. We had two portable AC units, one in the master or our main bedroom and one in the kids' bedroom. So I think that saved us because even though the temperature in the attic is higher, you get the cooler room underneath, gives it that little edge to keep it cooler.
Yeah.
So I think that prevented us because our neighbors don't have any AC units. Their unit was hitting 95 degrees internally, which means their attic was way overheating. So their pipes basically burst. And so, unfortunately, those folks, and they're super nice, they have to move out of their place for the next 2.5 months, and everything in their home has to be torn down and rebuilt.
Ooh,
because of serious flooding.
2.5 months. Wow.
2.5 months it's going to take to gut their home and rebuild walls and stairs and everything.
Well,
that's
some towns are ready for this. There's going to be parts of the world who go, you broke a record, but you only got to 112. What's wrong with you people?
We are not ready for this.
We are not ready.
Pacific Northwest is not built for this deep heat. We are
not. I get that kind of heat all summer in Vegas, and my building's built for it. And I have a nice little heat pump that never strains and does the job. And in fact, my place stays pretty cool even when it's not on because all the neighboring places are cooled. And it's just a whole different ball game.
It is. So I know that there were some threads going around on Twitter, folks from Texas and the southern states going, oh, you're having a little heat wave. Well, it's kind of the same thing when the southern states like Texas hit that freezing point. You're not built for it. You're just not. So you're seeing pictures of, aluminum siding on these buildings starting to warp and melt, and tar in the roads get all gooey, and pets dying because it's just too freaking hot. It's too hot. Oh, and the other thing I was reading about was that hotel rooms, the hotels were gouging people for hotel rooms up
they
to
were
$1,000 a
pricing?
night.
Sure, yeah.
Oh, of course, 1,000. And these were for the 2-star hotels that surround SeaTac. These are for the flop houses. So yeah. So it was
Even the
hot.
hotels that were charging by the hour.
Yes, we're $1,000 an hour. You know what they say: two's company, three's $1,000. Anyway,
did your pets survive the heat apocalypse?
We took not drastic measures, but we spent most of the time in the air-conditioned rooms. So, because since I have smashy-faced dogs, heat regulation is a problem.
Mm-hmm.
So there were bowls of ice and wet towels, and I would spray them down with water and put them in front of the fan. They did not like that. They hated that. They don't like water. They don't like that. But they were like, what are you doing to me? I'd throw them under the sink with cold water, and I don't know if you can see in the video, scratchy marks on my neck as they're trying to claw their way through me to get out of the sink, thinking I'm torturing them. They did okay. Really, really low key. I would take them out early in the morning. I would set up pee pads in the basement or the garage area where it's cooler for them to do mid-afternoon breaks because, you know, when it's 110 out, they can't walk on the sidewalk. It's too hot. So they can't do potty breaks outside.
Yeah.
So, and then I'd wait till the evening and then take them out in the evening. But they managed, drank lots of water. They were really, really low key.
Well, several nights ago, my family relocated the guinea pigs to the basement, to the laundry room, in fact, in the basement, which is the coldest room in the house, and they seem to have done just fine. They weathered the weather, and you know, they were only slightly irritated that their world had changed.
Well, you know, they don't complain that much. As long as they keep their bedding clean and you
They just
give them their carrots,
hide
they
a
will-
lot. It's the amount
Yeah,
of
they'll just
hiding
weak,
pretty
weak,
much
weak.
tells you how they feel.
They'll weak at you. Weak. So, you know, they squeak at you. Weak. So, you were able to escape to the coast, weren't you?
So about 2 weeks ago, we decided let's take a family vacation, and coincidentally, we booked a hotel room in Ocean Shores on the very hottest nights of this apocalypse. So yes, we snuck out of town and spent 2 days basically in our air-conditioned car, driving out to Port Townsend and then out to the peninsula and skipped it more or less.
That was very fortuitous of you to book that, because I know when you said that we'll delay recording this, you know, by a day or so because we're headed to Ocean Shores, I was like, how did he snag that? I thought maybe you were like at the last minute, be like, I'm going to get me a room, and I'm James Ernest. I'm going to get me a room. Do you know who I am? Get me a room.
No, I didn't even book this room. I don't know anything about it or even how much it was. I don't think it was much, or whether it was all in demand. The place was fairly busy, but it wasn't really overrun. I don't know how many people thought that idea. And it was a long, hot drive to get out there. Like, you know, we drove through a lot of places that the car said it was 110 outside, and the air conditioner has a leak that fills the passenger seat with water, like an inch deep. So we call it Lake Passenger now, and
Oh my gosh.
and Carol fixed up a little plastic bag to try to catch the drippings on the second day so that she wouldn't just be sitting with her feet in a puddle. And you know,
Aw.
that
Is
air
that
conditioner was
just
working OT, and I'm so glad to
yeah.
say now that we've returned, I can safely say this: the car did not die.
Well, excellent. That's always a plus. I do remember times growing up in Michigan in the middle of summer driving in my aunt's car where the air conditioning worked. However, every time you had it on, the car would aggressively overheat. So in
Right.
order to take the heat off the engine, you have to turn the heat on.
Oh dear.
So I remember we would do 10 minutes of cool, and then she's like, okay, we got to open the windows and cool this car down or cool the engine down. So then the heat would come on, and it's 98 degrees in Michigan with 80% humidity with the windows open. We're like, it's so hot as we're driving on the freeway. It's
Well,
so
there were a couple of times when the engine was struggling, and I turned the AC off to climb a hill, but the light never came on. It never really complained to me that it was overheating. It struggled to climb some hills. But apart from that,
sure.
no, it worked like a charm. This is a 2003 Prius, still out there on the road, rattling and trapping away.
Well, I'm glad it got you to where you wanted, and I'm glad it got you back safely, even though Lake Passenger was part of it. Consider that a feature. That's a feature of the car.
And it is now. I'm just seriously tempted to just drill a hole in the floorboard. Just let it out. Because over the winter we had a leak in the window that accumulated in the same place. So that carpet is already just beyond repair, and now it's passenger lake. So yeah, not except for cold weather and warm weather, this car doesn't have a lake in the passenger seat.
Oh, good. I do know what you just totally sparked a memory of mine. I had a friend in college who had just a junker of a car. And in Michigan, they salt the roads, and so rust happens on the bottom of the car. And this particular junker had holes that had rusted through, like the floorboard on the passenger side. And so you had to remember when you got in to throw the carpet mat over the hole, or else if you hit puddles while you were driving in the rain, it would start, splash up into the car.
Splash up into the car, sure.
Yeah. Yeah, you totally reminded me of that, but thank you. So tell me, what did you do in Ocean Shores? Ocean Shores, for those who are not familiar with, is a touristy town. It's on the coast, the peninsula, long peninsula of Washington State. It's on the Pacific Ocean. Constant breezes blow. It's always nice when you go to Ocean Shores, and it's sunny because usually there's a very heavy marine layer that's over there, so it's kind of moody. It's moody in the morning, misty and stuff.
Well, while I was out there, I managed to pick up a new sponsor for our program, Candy Sand Beach, Washington. So perhaps we could learn more about that place and then discuss how it reflects reality.
Okay.
Do you have today's ad in front of you?
I do. Thank you.
Here's why. Because this episode of Here All Week is brought to you by Candy Sand Beach. Get away, but not too far.
When you need to retreat from society, take a short drive to the vacation destination that everyone's talking about, Candy Sand Beach.
It's a sleepy little seaside town with candy and sand just close enough to drive, but far enough that it feels like a vacation.
The sand at Candy Sand Beach is wet and sticky, just like candy, but you can't eat it.
So while you're here, enjoy a cavalcade of beach town fun times like the Clam Digger Arcade, beach droppings, and Sketchy Pete's deep-fried everything.
I haven't even read this, so and I'm just this is Ocean Shores to a T. Your day begins with a walk along the tide-scented beach.
Just follow First Street to Water Street and park by the beach at Beachside Park.
That's where you'll find a happy gaggle of vacationing city folks, just like you.
Plus 3 gnarly-faced locals who just want to be left alone.
And if you like to be left alone, just try getting a muffin at the 2.5-star coffee shop at Beachview Villas at the corner of First and Water.
After lunch, you'll be amazed at all the saltwater taffy flavors at Beach Droppings, Candy Sand Beach's world-famous ice cream, shaved ice, taffy, and bait store.
While you're here, try our newest invention, shaved ice cream.
That's right. We take your favorite ice cream flavors, freeze them extra hard, and grind them into powder, then douse them with syrup in other different flavors.
So yummy. That really hits the spot.
Speaking of hitting the spot, does your family love mini golf? Because we have 2 putt-putt golf courses. 2 of them!
That's right. Dust off your putting skills at Captain Conway's Salty Holes, where the main... Oh, my God! I love this show already. That's right. Dust off your putting skills at Captain Conway's Salty Holes, where the many-tentacled kraken could devour your balls with literally every stroke.
Next, rent a puff-wheeled beach blumper and pedal over to Dinah's Dinky Dunes, the world's only miniature golf course that's 100% sand traps.
Speaking of sand, who likes clams? When your tummy gets a grumbling, bring your whole sunburned family down to Sketchy Pete's Deep Fried Emporium.
It's the only full-service restaurant that survived the COVID lockdown, so you know it's got to be good.
Dig in with both hands as you enjoy a variety of inexpensive domestic beers and deep-fried sea meats from around the globe. Speaking
of globes, do you like bowling? Because we have that.
That's right, we do. Come try your luck during our public hours between 2 and 5 every weekday afternoon at Loopy Lola's, the oldest and longest bowling alley in the tri-state area.
Sling your balls down Lola's non-regulation lanes and marvel at the tedious but still functional ball returns, the slowest in the Northwest.
Don't worry, it's coming.
And don't forget your souvenirs. Visit Sharky's Blue Shirts and Novelty Canned Fish on the corner of First and Water Street.
Commemorate your visit to Candy Sand Beach with blue t-shirts of all sizes, blazoned with your choice of slogans or a family photo snapped right in front of the changing room.
And pick up our discounted 5-pack of Sharky Sharks Bite Ball Caps, now in infant size. I totally messed that up. What does it even say? Oh, Shark Bite. And pick up our discounted 5-pack of Sharky's Shark Bite Ball Caps, now in infant sizes. Or check out our unique double headers where 2 heads can fit in the same giant ball cap.
Speaking of body parts, don't forget to stick your feet in the cold, cold waters of the Pacific Ocean. But remember, it's not safe at any time, day or night.
That's right, never turn your back on the sea. Dangerous riptides and freezing waters are nothing to sneeze at.
And if you love sneezing, take home a lost memory from Marvin's Beachfront Antiques, featuring discarded ocean bobbers, dusty LPs, and a whole lot more.
And right next door, don't forget to pick up a decorative arrangement of local flowers from Marvin's Merci Bouquet on the corner of Water and First.
Oh my God, that's such a brilliant name.
I should do that. I should do that again, shouldn't I?
Oh, that's a great name. Oh.
I didn't even look that
God.
one up. And right next door, don't forget to pick up a decorative arrangement of local flowers from Marvin's Merci Bouquet on the corner of Water and First Street.
Do that again. I'm laughing over you. I'm so sorry. Hey, everyone on the YouTube. This is a great show. Great.
Well, you didn't laugh over me. You can fix that.
I'm sorry. I was wheezing in the background, so. One more time, please.
We have 2 tracks. All right. And right next door, don't forget to pick up a decorative arrangement of local flowers from Marvin's Merci Bouquet on the corner of Water and First Street.
And if you like arrangements, don't forget to book your next trip to Candy Sand Beach today. Just look for us wherever sleepy little waterfront towns are sold.
Candy Sand Beach is Western Washington's westernmost beach, featuring candy and sand. Eat the candy, not the sand, and never turn your back on the sea.
We also have steaks. Funny but painful to get through. Holy moly.
That's my weekend. Well,
Funny but
so-
painful. Part of it is my studio here is heating up. There's no ventilation.
right,
so.
right. I turned off all my fans. I shut my doors. I put on a nice shirt, and by the end of this half hour, I'm going to be dead.
Yeah, I'm already moist like a snack cake. Good God.
Oh, speaking of snack cakes, if you love snack cakes, don't
Yes.
forget. Oh my God. So
This ad captured the essence of Ocean Shores. Thank you so much.
you've been there, have you?
Oh, many times, and there's always a stop. There's a store there called Sharky's, which seriously is
Which is shaped
exactly
like a shark.
It's got a shark head, and everybody
Yeah.
stops in front. It's got a boatload of blue T-shirts and saltwater taffy and tchotchkes, and so. I hope you did you do any of the things like rent electric bikes or anything and ride up and down the
No.
beach? or
Oh,
what?
you know what we did? Well, first of all, we tried to sleep through the night. We had no AC on the beach either, and it was like 85 or 90 like all night long. It was almost as horrible there. I can only assume it was worse here, but
Wow.
like we were trying to keep the skeeters out. So we like basically sprayed the windows with skeeter spray and then like threw them open because otherwise the refrigerator in the room was just kicking out hot air. And I was like, God damn it.
Oh.
So I mean, yes, I could have unplugged it. I think of that now, but the next day we were going to our original plan was to drive up to Ruby Beach and like have a beach day and a little picnic and whatever. But it was 95 at Ruby Beach on Ocean Shores at about 11:30. This massive fog bank rolled in and made it the only cool place in the state. And so we just basically hung out in town as long as we could. And in fact, the fog
okay.
was kind of apocalyptic and cool on the beach. It was still hotter than hell, but like when we went out to the beach around 10:30, 11 in the morning, it was Blade Runner out there. It was like you couldn't see more than about 100 yards and everything just sort of disappearing into madness. And it was cool. It was also, exactly as terrifying as they say. There literally is like language in the Ocean Shores like online brochure that says never turn your back on the sea.
That sea will creep up on you real quick.
Yep.
Seriously. I remember the last time I was at Ocean Shores, it was a girls' weekend, and we rode bumper cars and got matching tattoos with the word Sea Hag. So there's 6 women out there with the word Sea Hag on our bodies. We had a great time. And the trip prior to that one, I took my kid Micah and I did a parent-child kind of weekend together, and the weather was gorgeous, and we swam. And I forget on how far you can wander out into the Pacific when the tide's out and the level never changes.
It's
You know,
very
that's always
flat. The beach was very flat and
Yeah.
wet.
Yeah, it's always surprising to me that you can keep wandering on. You look back and you realize, you're 150 yards, 175 yards from the shore, and you're still only mid thigh. You're like,
Yeah.
holy moly! So, yeah, it's crazy. And then you realize how much the tide changes there, easily, where you see the water line on the sand and
And it
stuff.
can
So
come up and swallow you there. Like, it does come up pretty high. Well, anyway,
it does come up. Yeah, it does.
we've
come
all
up high, and
survived
those
ocean
folks-
shores. Thank goodness.
Yes, and those folks who are new to the beach, you can always tell the newbies there because they park way too close to the water and they don't pay attention to the tide schedules. And I've seen a few cars get caught and have to be towed out because they're just not paying attention. So,
Yeah, we parked way up at Beachside Park and walked down to the water because we just didn't know exactly what we were getting into. But yeah, there were lots of folks parked down there and on the wet sand, inches above the tide. I don't know
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
any of those cars were in trouble, but
nope.
yeah, it was before the fog came in and it was turning into a very hot day. We did go out to the arcade. We did play the mini golf, and in fact, we had quite a lovely little moment when we convinced the people in the bumper boats that have little squirt guns on the front
Yeah.
to douse all of us on the golf course,
Oh,
which they
nice.
got a kick out of.
Nice. Inter game fun. I
Yeah.
love that. I haven't done the bumper boats. I've done the mini golf there. So, but was mini golf the only thing you did? Did you do go karts? Because they got go karts.
No, that would have been hot. And also by
Fine.
by 11 it was all crazy busy. It was
Yeah,
we got
okay.
in and out before any of that. But we hung out at we did go to the fried fish shop. We hung out near the bowling alley. We just basically killed time in town because it was only
Mm-hmm.
79 and that's way better than driving home. So that was pretty
okay.
much our whole day.
Well, I'm good. I'm glad you had a great little break. I think that's great. I know that here, just dealing with the heat has been challenging. Right now, today, as the recording of today, it made it up to, what was it, 93, I think. So we had a cooling front come in
Yeah.
from 110 to 93. A little
Well,
cooler.
the forecast
how-
for last night was that it was supposed to drop 50 degrees. I don't actually think that it did, but they were expecting that the heat wave was going to get so blown away that it was going to go from 110 to 60 in a 12-hour period. I don't
That's
think
nuts.
that it got that low last night.
That's nuts. Speaking of heat, too, I just read on the news that Siberia is experiencing 118-degree temperatures.
And
above
they're
the
not
Arctic
ready for
Circle.
that up there either. They have a whole bunch of just exploding methane caves and stuff. It's crazy up there.
It's crazy. They're like, if the permafrost goes, there's a bunch of ancient greenhouse gases that are going to escape. So,
And not
it's
to
like,
mention
oh.
world-killing plagues.
Okay, great. Thank
Sure,
you.
and
Now-
morphing alien creatures and all kinds of bad stuff just buried in the ice.
you
up
know,
there.
you know what, John? Who was that director with
Carpenter?
The Thing? I can't remember. Thank you. I can remember the
The
Halloween
Thing?
guy. Yeah, he was right. He was right. There's something under the ice. There's always something under the ice. James, what you got coming up this week? What's going on?
I am digging my fingernails deep into Crab Fragment Labs. I have a few games to work on and or finish. Today I did post a little blog update. If you go to Crab Fragment Labs on the blog, you'll see a photo of the beach, as well as a nice up-close picture of a crab fragment that we found in the sand. It's grotesque. I have a word game I'm trying to find and see if I can make into a thing. I've been promising a game called Agents of the Crown for several months now, and I've finally come to the realization that I don't want to make a custom deck for it because it's very close to playable with a standard poker deck, and I've made so many custom decks at this point I'd rather just put the rules out. So I think that's happening this week. But games and stuff, and then I'm packing up a bunch of boxes because it's been 2 years since I actually drove a car to Las Vegas, and there's a bunch of stuff I want to drive down there. In about a week, we're going to do that.
Oh, terrific! Are you taking the Prius or are you renting a
We are
van, or
renting
what are you
we're
doing?
renting an SUV. We're loading it up with garbage, and also Carol is coming along for the funds. So
Oh,
we'll have ourselves a
great.
car that hopefully, well, I mean, our car didn't break in the Washington heat, but this one's probably going to survive all the way to the Las Vegas heat, and that's just fine.
So is Carol a Vegas games player, or is Carol more of a just kind of hang around and people watch kind of person?
She enjoys the many offerings of the casino. She plays slots. She doesn't play a lot of the other games, but we like a good restaurant and a good show every now and then. I don't know how much of Las Vegas is currently the opens, but I think the time is coming. I think we're getting pretty close, and we're all vaccinated and itching to get out in public.
Yeah, yeah. I feel you on that one. I am looking forward to my vacation. It's coming up the first week of August as I head back home to go sit on the lovely shores of Lake Huron. As far as for this week for me, it's just making sure that the place stays as cool as possible, relatively speaking. So I've got a big industrial fan that sounds like an airplane in the living room, and then the AC units that are upstairs. And let me tell you, I realized that after this is over, I am so going to have to replace the carpets up in the hallway because holy moly does it stink. When that heat comes out and everything starts, moist and drying, it's like, and the carpets haven't been changed since my husband bought the place brand new. So it's like, that's what I'm splurging on.
I was moving boxes in the
hallway.
basement today, and I smelled Florida. I was like, oh, this is what happens to basements when they get hot.
Yes. Yep. You smelled Florida. This smells more like a zoo is what it smells like.
Yes,
So the
well,
dogs
my
and-
animals
and-
are more contained than yours, perhaps.
Correct. But I'm not blaming just the dogs. Before I even moved in, my husband had 2 cats and one was a marker. So I bought those UV flashlights to see, and boy am I sorry. Boy am I sorry that I did that because it was a horror show.
Don't UV flashlights come with a label that just says "You'll be sorry"? Like, isn't that just a built-in part of the packaging?
It should have. I thought I was just gonna. Okay. Here, before we close the show, here's my naivete about this. I knew that the dogs had marked a few places, right? I didn't realize that the cat had marked so many places. So I thought I was going to turn the light on. I was going to see a couple of areas, and I have a really great. I use what's called Nature's Miracle Urine Destroyer, which has worked really great for me in the past. I mean,
I need
it's
some
got
pants
enzymes
with
in it.
that.
I know. Urine Destroyer. So I thought, I was just going to turn the light off and turn this flashlight on the hallway carpet, and I would find the spots, spray them down, and you saturate them, and you put towels over it, and you do it a couple of times, and odor's gone. Oh no, James, this was horror. Like murder scene horror.
I have an interesting murder scene horror pet story as well. Way back in the forever ago, in 1985 or 1986, I had some friends in St. Louis who had this downtown mansion. It was one of the ancient brick buildings in a terrible neighborhood, and so they got it cheap, and they were renovating it one room at a time. And they pulled up the carpet in what had clearly been the dog room for whoever owned this place before. And they had never really spent any time in this room because they were just waiting to do what you're doing now, get in there and clean it out, right? They rip up the carpet, and the pad was more or less stuck to the floor in about, it was a hardwood floor, very nice floors underneath, needed refinishing, but then first it needed this carpet pad chipped off of it, and they were chipping away at the edges, and I said, stop, and I wish that we had phones back then to take a photo of this. Oh no, this is much more interesting than you think.
Okay, all
I
right,
wish we had phones on our bodies, because I don't think anyone got a picture of this, but the stuck down parts that did not come up with the carpet were an entire globe map. There was a clear North America, complete with Florida and Baja. There was a South America. There was an Africa. And we could kind of imagine a Europe and an Australia just to complete the picture. But, these dogs had been places. This is what I'm trying to tell you. Craziest thing I ever saw.
Wow. Oh man. Yeah. So that's the splurge for making it through this heat wave is I'm going to get new carpeting for the stairs and the hallway. The bedrooms have to wait a bit, just simply because of how do you I don't know. Have you ever had carpet replaced in a home that has furniture in it? Have you ever done that?
Right.
What
yes.
do they do? Do they move shit and then
You
lay it
can
and
move
then
the
it
stuff,
back?
or you can hire them to move the stuff. But you got to find a place to put it. Like some houses,
see.
I'm not saying my house, but some houses are so full of furniture you can't just stage it somewhere. You have to stack
No,
it. I don't know.
We don't have that space available
Right.
here. We don't have that luxury. So it's like I can do the stairs in the hallway, and then the carpets in the bedrooms will just have to wait until another time. So
Well, I
can
think
at
like
least-
many Seattleites, I'm currently mulling over whether I will splurge on an air conditioner so that when the apocalypse visits us again, inevitably, I'll be more prepared. But I think the answer is still no. I think the basement is still cold enough that unless the heat wave is 6 days long, I can stick it out.
all I was going to say is that you remember that heat wave in 2021. You remember how cool that was, and that's 10 years in the future, James. Remember how cool it was. It's been one of the best investments I've had, just simply from a sleep perspective, of being able to do that, just for sleep alone. So I think it's totally worth it. But some people say I'm just going to ride it out. But I'm not built to take 110-degree temperatures in a 95-degree bedroom at night. That's
Well,
not
if you
me.
can't stand the heat, Kelly, get out of the kitchen and every other room in
Well,
the
I'm-
house.
I'm not in it, James. Thank you very much. I told my family I'm not cooking. You guys are eating vegetables, and so everybody's like, "Well, I guess we're not eating." So,
That sounds like my house.
yep. All right, folks. Thank you so much for joining us. Hopefully, you have been comfortable during this podcast. Be kind. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to your family, your friends, your community, your neighbors. We are all going through it. My name is Kelly Ray.
And I'm James Ernest, and we're here all week.